So thank you. This is it's kind of a funny little thing to be doing this now because it's been over a year since the book came out in Kindle version, and then we actually sent the book to print the same day that Sydney was born, which was kind of cool. In the morning, sent it off. I wanted to just say thank you to Kristen for. I just knew I would get emotional.
Sure.
Her backup singers.
My backup singers. My entourage. They need to be very close. For just a great 8 years, and for continuing to do the work after we decided to not be business partners a year ago. And I feel very lucky to still have a place to practice and to be and to teach teachers. And that's a really wonderful gift. And if it weren't for this experience, I wouldn't have written the book. So a lot of our trials and tribulations and challenges and really great experiences went into writing the book. And so thank you for that, for being such a big part of that. I wanted to make sure to mail my Sierra Club donation. Send back my copy of the book. Wanted to read the acknowledgement in the back of the book and then thank some of the people who were instrumental in actually creating the print version of the book, and then just read a little bit from the book, and then I'll just check in with you all eye to eye and see if you are completely bored out of your mind, and then I'll stop if that's the case. So, I want to first acknowledge the endless support and love that my husband Carlos and family have provided me in this unexpected and brisk walk to authorhood. To my son Charlie.
It's okay.
Does somebody want to come read for me?
Maybe Charlie would read it. Do you want me to read it, Chantill?
No, I can do it.
Okay.
For keeping me in the moment and always focused on what is most important.
She's a new mom.
Like totally hormonal. This could take a really long time. Focus on what is most important, my family. To my mother, Constance, and to my dad, JW, for their faith in me. It's like a bad comedy show. All right, how about I do this? How about I just say thank you? My mom's here. You're welcome. My mom's heart demands to my sister Amber, who I've been calling this my teeny tiny beautiful book because it actually started out as like a 35-page book that I meant to just give away, and after I was working with an editor who was a student of mine, it turned into a 90-page book over a long and unexpected process, and still feels like a small thing to me, but Amber took all of the beautiful pictures inside. And to Patty, who has also been on this journey with me, a student of mine who made it look beautiful, who did all of the layout. I'm endlessly grateful, and it was such.
Where's Patty?
Patty and the hat in the back there. So thank you to both of you, and yeah, I mean, it's exciting to have a little thing to hold in your hand and say that you created it, I mean, besides your babies. So I think instead of reading the acknowledgement, which I clearly cannot get through, I will just read a little bit from the book and just give you a taste of the book. The beginning of the book Well, I'm started reading from the 3rd chapter, and the title of that chapter is called "You Are Not Alone." And I'm going to not exchange, but also include, for the word teacher, just people. Because I feel like a lot of what the book is about is relevant to everyday life and the way that we live our lives and that we strive to be the best that we can be. So, you are not alone. You stand on the shoulders of every person who has ever influenced you in a positive or negative way. Every teacher, friend, or passerby that has inspired you to question, reflect, take action, or change course. More importantly, there are people, teachers like you, who also struggle to find rewarding teaching or rewarding lives to nurture and share and guide. There are teachers or people who have the same amazing successes that you have. They wonder how to maintain their confidence and build community, how to share and be a part of something bigger than themselves and bigger than the sweaty gyms that they teach in. And don't get me wrong, I do love the sweaty gyms. They are fraught with lower backs that need our attention. So how do we begin? With a surprisingly simple question, and one that I deeply wish someone would have asked me when I started teaching. What kind of teacher do you want to be? Now, this vital question never occurred to me when I began teaching Pilates at Spencer Health and Fitness in Hilo, Hawaii. The ancient sweat box was haphazardly adorned with a coat of cheap paint and a few meager single-pane windows. It was no beauty, but it did the trick as far as gyms went. My first class, I open the door, sweat, stale and new, charges the air and hits me like a wall. Walking between rows of stairmasters, my anonymity makes me feel safe. I can hide behind the veil of having no past and no present with these gym goers, relieved that few look up when I pass them on the treadmills. The students are preoccupied with watching Oprah, clocking calories on their digital screens, or mouthing the words to a favorite song. I walk to the locker room more out of not knowing where the classroom is actually located and trying not to show it than for any real need of the locker room itself. I set my bag and mat down and look around. I simply stand, feeling my heart thumping, the flurry of moths in my belly, my throat lumpy and hard. Class starts in 15 minutes. It is enough time to get to room A, ready for class, but not too much time to have to sit there alone, waiting for students to trickle in. I am filled with a purposeful yet false confidence. I am wearing my anticipation like an undergarment in snowy weather, hidden and tucked away, careful not to let a thread show. The fear lingering is that of the unknown. As students show up, a grumpy old man, a work-worn mother, an eager gym regular, all seemingly curious but dubious about the next 60 minutes. I wonder, will the words come out right? Do I have a right to be taking this place as expert and teacher? Can I make a difference? Will they get it? My fear is conjured out of nothingness, like a magical sword with which to arm myself. This is my introduction to teaching. I had decided with very little conviction to be a teacher. I said I would do it. I believed in the likelihood of my success, and then at some point woke up and realized I was doing it. I had become a teacher. But the role and responsibility of being a teacher carried very little weight itself. I wanted to teach Pilates, to move, to share my joy of it with others. I never considered that there might be something more to teaching than simply learning the method and showing up. I started teaching Pilates as my first real, although self-appointed role of educator. Today I teach many things, including dance, yoga, anatomy, meditation, movement awareness, the craft of teaching, and reading to my now 8-year-old son, who doesn't need me to teach him how to read anymore. I imagine all of us to be teachers at some point or in some capacity. Perhaps you have experienced the gift of offering and learning as well. Was there a time when you were both the receiver and the conduit of teaching? Was there a moment when you were the supporter and the supported, the questioner and the answerer? Teaching was my first true experience of performing both roles at once. My early memories of teaching are ones of anticipated challenges and unexpected joy. I was endlessly confronted by the inner struggle and questions from my past. Who am I? What gave me the right to be the expert and guide? Why would anyone care about what I was offering? What if I failed? What if I hurt someone? Say something wrong. What then? It only took one class, one reality check before I began to calculate the risks and the possible failures. Soon after, my mind weaved thoughts of grotesque misguidance and ensuing grievances. It was in my first class in that stale old gym room where I was forced to acknowledge the unknown. Belly down, nose planted into the mat, a student turns to look at me while smashing her cheek to the floor and asks, "What exactly are you asking us to do?" Silence. What? Words lost. What am I asking her to do? With a sudden loss of confidence, I repeat the directions. What? She asks again, while coming to her knees in order to get a better look at me. I suddenly feel as if I'm sitting bound to a chair in a dark room with a single glaring light on my face as a means of intimidation. I would give her what she wanted if I had it to give, but I don't have the answers, and I can't say so. In Buddhism, there is a concept called beginner's mind. It is the notion of being able to stay in a humble place of not knowing, willing to see the open field of possibilities, even when they go against what you think you know. In beginner's mind, you are not fixed or trapped by what you have learned or what you have not learned. When you choose to be untethered by your beliefs or stories, those questionable truths we tell ourselves to justify, reconcile, and piece together our experiences, and be open to what's in front of us, there is relief. An entirely different feeling arises, however, when one is being nudged into this place by someone else. When teaching that first class, my subconscious bodyguard, her name is Ego, had that door bolted and locked. I could not dream of saying that I didn't know. Instead, Miss Ego was saying, "The first thing you must do is express confidence." Ego crosses her arms firmly and glares, but I was not instilling confidence. Why should I not have all the answers? Was I allowed to admit that I didn't have all the answers? So for the first year of teaching, I simply clutched onto any possible answer, whether it was right, semi-right, maybe sort of right, or really stretching it. It was an unsatisfying beginning, yet I embraced the reality and moved into the practice of teaching. Swept off my feet, like a lustful young lover, I fell completely and blindingly into my new craft. I was acutely aware of my lack of mastery, but I never stopped to heed it. By a completely selfish impulse, I deemed myself something I had never imagined I would be: a teacher, a guide, an expert. I have neither an explanation for why I chose to stick with the teaching process, nor will I presume some gifted sense of self-awareness as a reason. While one foot was put in front of the other, trust, faith, and inspiration blossomed under tender ground, and gradually joy emerged. That was not exactly what I expected. But thank you for enduring. Here's my baby. I guess that's the end of that. Thank you, and there are a few books for sale if you're interested. The book itself is much more about helping teachers ask pertinent questions and to help them find their way through the ups and downs of teaching, which clearly to me is a very powerful and intimate process. So, thank you.